Good morning, everybody. Stuart Watson here in the host chair, a rare outing in the host chair for the Kings of Anglia podcast. And today is a very special day. It's the day that makes it all feel very real. The new season is coming. The fixtures are out. We've got lots to discuss today, gentlemen. A couple of signings since we last all got together. It's all going on in the world of League One at the moment, but I'd like to start with the fixture list. Ipswich Town held a special breakfast this morning for fans and corporate guests and people like that, in which Kieran McKenna and Mark Ashton reacted live to those fixtures being released, which was I was privileged enough to be a part of. So it was nice to see Kieran McKenna's face light up as he saw those fixtures for the first time and respond to them live. And he is very happy that Ipswich Town have got a home game to start with. It's Bolton Wanderers at home. I should introduce you all really before we jump into all this, shouldn't I? To my right, for those watching, is Mike Bacon. How are you, man?
Well, I'm on your left, aren't I?
Well, as I look at you, you're on my right. It doesn't matter.
As I look at you, you're on my... Oh, yeah, you're on my left. Yeah. Hi, Stu. Yeah, I'm great, thanks, mate. And that's nice to hear you schmoozing around with all the Breakfast Club at Portman Road. I bet you were... Yes, I bet you're in your element there, my friend, weren't you? Just pick up a few little things. That sounds like a good thing to do.
It was really good. I'll tell you a bit more about it in a minute. But first of all, I'll introduce the man who's definitely below me on this screen. I think we can all be in agreement on that one. It's Ross Halls, who was putting in the hard yards on the five-a-side pitch again last night with us, Ross, showing some twinkle toes. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm a bit sore this morning, but yeah, Stu, it was a very good session once again at Goals in Ipswich. Your team beat my team, but your team had more of the runners, a lot of more fit players. But you were an absolute baller. Mike, Stuart Watson, he's a baller. I'm sure you're aware of that already. But
Yeah, I am aware of that. Yeah, I've played with young Stu. He's a bit roughy tufty for my liking. Though I was a bit more skillful on the ball. He tends to sort of slide in from all different angles when I watched him play. So, but yes, I didn't get an invite to this goals thing. Obviously, I don't know quite why that is. I was, age is not a barrier to quality of footballer. Chaps. I mean, you don't have to. Just anyway. But yes, so I did see your tweet about you're absolutely knackered, Ross. I mean, after 10 minutes, which seems a bit extraordinary for a 20-year-old, but there you go.
I'll just give you a little insight into Ross as a footballer. Likes to get out of his feet, likes to run at people. It's quite nippy. But he also does this sort of weird thing that I've never seen people do before. He makes a little squeal just as he's about to hit the ball, or just as he knocks the ball out of his feet. He makes this sort of noise, and he does it every time, and it's very odd.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just, I don't know, just starting to scare people, but it's not going to scare you, is it? There's one highlight from the night, and of course a lot of the Kings of Anglia army was there, so shout out to them. But Kieran Stanley, he just picked me up, didn't he? Once he just basically went, pick me up, get me out of the way, so you guys can go for attack. And yeah, as you know, I haven't got much weight on me, so I'm easily just to be removed. But me and Stu had a few tussles, didn't we? Had a few more tussles when you're defending.
It was good fun. It was up at Goals at Ipswich on those new, whatever, 4G, 5G pitches, whatever they call them. And the next morning, I'm still finding those little black bits of rubber pellets coming out of every orifice this morning. They get everywhere, don't they? Enough about that. Let's get back to Ipswich Town, which is what this podcast is all about. And the fixtures, which I mentioned rather prematurely in that intro. Ipswich Town start at home to Bolton. I'll give you the first month, if you like, so you can digest them. Let's have a little look at these here. I'm just going to bring the list up in front of me. So, Bolton Wanderers at home on Saturday, July the 30th. That is early for a football season to start, isn't it? Followed by Forest Green away, which I'm sure a lot of fans are looking forward to going there. A new ground, I think, for many, myself included. MK Dons at home, Burton away on a Tuesday night, Shrewsbury away, then Barnsley at home. So, thoughts on that opening month to start with, gentlemen? Who wants to go first?
Young Michael.
young Mike, you called me old Michael in the YouTube video we did of a quick reaction to this, and that's young Michael when we're on the podcast, which is great. I don't really mind. Bolton Wanderers at home. I did actually sort of. I have gone through a few record books and found that Bolton Wanderers we actually played on opening day when we won the league title in 1961-62 season. Although
right, well, that's it. Hand us the trophy now.
That was away from home, though, young Stu Pot. So it wasn't at home. It was away at Burnden Park or something. Wasn't I can't remember what it was called now. But anyway, we drew 0-0 apparently. Yes, that's it. So the title is ours because we've got Bolton on opening day. I think that's quite a tough fixture, actually. In all seriousness, I think that's quite a tough fixture. Bolton finished really well, didn't they, Stu, at the end of last season on a bit of a high. So, but as I did say to Russ, we have sort of. I mean, I'm an away from home person on opening day, preferably. I would rather be away from home than at home. Just always feels a little bit of pressure at home on opening day. There's fans are all great expectation. The sun is bound to be shining, and just a little bit more. I don't know. Perhaps I know it's superstition, but that's how I. But anyway, tough.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's going to be a big crowd there for the opening day. Hopefully the sun is shining as it so often is on that opening day. It'd be great to see the new kit for the first time, both in the stands and on the pitch. And it does bring a little bit of expectation that first day. Was it Morecambe opening day last season, which I think is a little bit different. I think if we're going to be a home game, I'd rather it be a Bolton, who I think have got a real chance of being in the mix last season. I think Ian Evatt is building something there. So it's a tricky opening day fixture that if you look at the three home games, the first three home games, it's Bolton, MK Dons, who should be up and around it, and Barnsley as well, who've just come down from the Championship. So they're three really good home games to start. And look, we're going to now spend a little bit of time poring over these and reading into them. Ultimately, you play everyone home and away. And it probably doesn't mean a lot, but I'd rather play those kind of tougher games at home early on than, I mean, we saw it last year, didn't we? We all looked at that fixture list and went, oh, it's a decent start on paper to get up and running. Morecambe and Cheltenham and Burton all in that opening month, and there's a bit of pressure on your shoulders, and it didn't work out that way. So maybe is this a better way to get started, sort of in at the deep end while other teams are maybe getting their house in order a bit?
Yeah, well, it's proven, in League One, we've had fast starts, but then also last season, we didn't have a fast start. We didn't win a game until September. And as you said, them three home games to start the season, Bolton, Barnsley and MK Dons, they're going to be up there this season, aren't they? They're going to be. So to get them out of the way, early doors, at home, hopefully get 3 points against them all. Go on, why not, Town? Go on, Kieran McKenna and co. I'm going to sort of jump straight away to Forest Green Rovers away. That's the first away game of the season. You always look out for the first away game of the season as well. And we've never been there before. I'm sure Town fans are going to be packing out that away end. And I'm excited for that one because it's a new ground for us all. So yeah, bring it on.
I think Forest Green Rovers away is a very tough start because I'm sure it'll be their opening home match, won't it? In their new league, and just like everywhere's rocking on opening day. Your Maris Forest Green Rovers are going to be certainly rocking. I mean, imagine if you're a Forest Green Rovers fan today and your opening fixture is Ipswich Town at home in League One, the highest level they're being. That's a terrific fixture for them and a tough one for Ipswich because, as we saw last season, Stu's right. You look at Morecambe, you looked at Cheltenham, you thought, oh, well, that's all right. These teams coming up. They're tough teams to beat, tough teams, and their adrenaline will be so. So overall, you mentioned the fixtures, Stu, didn't you? The first five. I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but I don't think it's easy. I don't think it's the toughest, but I don't think it's the easiest. I think, and there's a real chance to set a marker down there. Actually, as you say, you get MK Dons, Barnsley, and Bolton at home. You get at least 7 points out of that lot, maybe 9. Well, 9 would be terrific. 7 would be fantastic as well.
I think Forest Green, having them away is better because, as I mentioned the Morecambe game earlier, I think when Morecambe, a team like them or Forest Green are coming up to League One for the first time in a long time / ever, I don't know what the history is there. You have to remind me. But coming to Portman Road is the proverbial cup final, and they all have walked out in front of those sort of crowds that they're used to playing in front of hundreds, low thousands at times, and then walking out of Portman Road, you do get that extra adrenaline spike, and I think we saw that from Morecambe. So I think if it was Forest Green coming to Ipswich early on, I'd rather be going there to be honest, in that early fixture. So I think that's a good one. I think having some of these tougher games early on might be good for Ipswich because, and we'll come on to the signings in a bit, but Ipswich are getting some really good early business done. They've got the core of the squad in place. It's night and day compared to last summer, where we were scrambling to fill the squad after the Paul Cook demolition job. So hopefully Ipswich are going to be well drilled and well settled and well bedded in to hit the ground running. And not every other club is going to be the same. And not playing Derby early on, but they're going to be, you know, I was thinking, well, maybe it'd be good to play someone like Derby, for instance, who are in all sorts of uncertainty at the moment. But MK Dons might, I don't know how late in the day it will be before Scott Twine almost inevitably leaves. And will they still be scrambling to kind of get his replacement in the door? Barnsley are going to have to sell before they can buy, it's looking like. So to face some teams like that early on might be to Ipswich's benefit, possibly.
Yeah, I think I tell you, I'd quite like Derby earlier on. I mean, they're not too far. I mean, we've got them fairly, but I mean, they're not till October. I would like to have had Derby in the first 2 or 3 games. I must be honest, because I think you're right. It's a little, when you drop down to League One, which they're obviously doing, sometimes it's a bit sort of, well, that's only League One. We will bounce back up. I think, who we heard that from before? Yeah, a few of us. So, you know, that could well be Derby fans sort of, well, you know, we shouldn't have really been relegated, to be honest. We had enough points to stay up, so we'll bounce back. And yeah, they find out League One is quite a tough league.
And yeah, when we played, sorry, Stu, to jump in, trying to bring my thunder a little bit here. When Bolton came down, and of course had all those problems, that was since September, and we beat them 5-0. Of course, Derby's in October, so they may have things maybe sorted out, but I'm sure they're still going to be probably a mess, unfortunately. But yeah, that was a interesting time. Yeah,
it's that first month, isn't it, where the transfer window is still open and teams are still trading. We saw with Ipswich, Selina, Walton, Morsey all came virtually on either transfer deadline day or the day before in August last year. So it's catching teams while they're still in that little early season transitional period, isn't it? So Ipswich maybe have got a chance to do that with 1 or 2 in the opening month. Beyond that July-August period, what else is catching your eye?
Well, we were talking about, let's take a quick look at, you go to September, okay, which it's only the month after August, so we're still very early on here. Accrington away, Sheffield Wednesday away, and Plymouth away. Now they're 3 tough away games in September. So if you haven't, Ipswich want to have got to a reasonably good start, because although they've got a couple of home games in there, they've got 3 tough away games, and I think the first couple of months of the season are going to be really interesting. It's a bit of a mixed bag. The whole thing is a bit of a mixed bag. There's potential there to go really well. There's a potential there to not make a particularly good start at all. You could have some real slip-ups there. So, I mean, you can go through the whole fixture list if you wanted to. I mean, I'll just mention Christmas, Stu, because I know, you know, we like to be at home at Christmas. And Boxing Day, we are, aren't we, Ross? Ross was pleased particularly.
Yeah, I'm always pleased, Boxing Day. But then we've got a trip to Lincoln on New Year's Day, which isn't too bad. Then we've got to travel to Pompey after Christmas. So it's sort of like, what do you rather have? But it's nice to be Boxing Day at Portman Road. That's going to be a great festive. Of course, last season, we had cancellations because of COVID and stuff. Hopefully that won't be the case this year. And we didn't have a Boxing Day fixture. So this year, hopefully it's the year we have a Boxing Day fixture. And thankfully, we're at Portman Road. So I'm happy with that. Now, should we talk about the elephant in the room, Stu and Mike, about the Tuesday night away trips? Should we get them out of the way, early doors?
Yeah, go on.
So October 25th, Tuesday night, trip to Port Vale. We haven't been to Port Vale for a while, have we? I think it's the 90s last time we played them. And then Bristol Rovers, 14th of February away. So, of course, Burton Albion away on a Tuesday night. It's not too bad, is it? It's not the end of the world. It's August, so it's early days. But Port Vale and Bristol Rovers, midweek, not fun.
Could be worse on that front. I think we've done worse on a Tuesday night. I'm not going to take you through this month by month because I think that would be very dry. But I'll go to September very quickly. Accrington away on September 3rd is interesting to me because Accrington has kind of felt a couple of times in League One in the second or third month. It's kind of Accrington away has been where the wheels have started to fall off for Ipswich. They've been the real bogey side. They've kind of epitomised the League One struggle for me, Ipswich, who've made good starts, played some good football, and then they run into a team like Accrington away and been bullied, outfought. And that will be a real test for me to see how much McKenna has addressed some of those deficiencies in the squad. Now, there's a theme running through the players that he's signed thus far, and we'll talk about that in a bit in terms of some physicality and athleticism. I think that will be a real marker of how much Ipswich have improved if they can go to Accrington Stanley at the start of September and do something there.
I think that's a good shout, Stu, because, I mean, you'll come on to, as you said, we'll come on to signing soon. And certainly it's these tricky, you look at the fixture list as a whole, as you say, you don't want to be too dry and talk about month by month. But you look at the fixture list as a whole, there's nothing to suggest Ipswich Town shouldn't finish in a top 6 position out of all those clubs in that league. Nothing. There's some good clubs in that league. There's lots of good teams. It's going to be beating the teams that you probably don't think are going to finish in the top 6, like Accrington Stanley. With all due respect, you don't expect them to end up 4th in the table. You've got to go there and win games, and that's what Ipswich haven't been doing. So, yeah, as much as well, we talked a lot about the start. We won't be going through everything, as you say, Stu. But I must be honest, I thought the finish of the season, go to the end of the season, if Ipswich are right up there, come the end, you look at those fixtures near the end of the season. Am I allowed to read 1 or 2 out, Stu?
Sorry,
yes?
I was on mute. That is a yes. Please do.
Well, thank you very much. So you're on mute. See, I don't go on mute, you see. So you can hear my phone ring. You can hear my sons running through to go wash their cars. But that's why, I get confused. Anyway, the last few games, if I look at the last 4 or 5 games of the season, Charlton at home, Port Vale at home, Peterborough away, Exeter at home, Fleetwood away. Okay, I don't think Peterborough away is that easy. They're not all easy. But again, I think the finish could be tougher. And if Ipswich are in around there near the end, it's going to be an exciting finale. Ipswich have got a great chance.
Yeah, well, Kieran McKenna's comment this morning as he went through them was Fleetwood away on the final day. Hopefully we can all have a big party on the beach up in Lancashire. So something to dream of. I mean, how many times have we sat here on this day before and gone, decent start on paper, or if they can be in the mix come the end? I think we've done that before. And I think the run-in under when Paul Cook eventually took charge, I think that, from memory serves me correctly, looked all kind on paper, and then Ipswich were going to Northampton and getting spanked 3-0 and all sorts of bad results happening. So a lot can happen throughout the course of the season, can't it? But it's still fun to look through them all, and I'm sure everybody individually at home is looking at what clashes with this wedding and this holiday and what games can I make it to and stuff like that. One thing that is very interesting to talk about this year is the fact that we have a World Cup going to be taking place in the middle of a football season. Premier League and Championship goes on pause for varying lengths. League One carries on as usual, and there is a potential for England to be playing at the very same time as Ipswich Town if they get into the last 16. That's going to be very interesting. I think it's the Fleetwood home game in November. I would imagine that if that happens, League One as a whole will probably say, should we just move the fixtures forward to Friday, or change the kickoff time to later in the day, or move them to Sunday? They've got to do something, haven't they, to avoid that happening.
I just want to correct you, Stu. Sorry to do this. It's December, 3rd of December. But you got the game
sorry.
Right. Yeah, just in case listeners out there going, Stu, it's not November, it's December. But yeah, it's good shout though, Stu. I know the Wales-England game, that's going to be a big game in the group stage. I'm sure they were never going to have a fixture for that. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I'm sure they'll move it, because a lot of people will want to watch the England game, definitely the last 16. But some fans are probably like, no, I'm all about town. Don't go about international football. It's all about town. No, it's the World Cup. It's all about football. But yes, it's going to be an interesting period, because, as you said, Championship, Premier League are paused while we carry on like troopers, going to different places and all that sort of stuff, while football's been playing Qatar, which is just mad.
I wonder what it's going to do to the crowds around that period, because on the flip side, Ipswich might actually pick up a few more people who normally go to Premier League clubs, West Ham or whoever, might think, especially if something really feel good factor and some positivity in Ipswich are just creating a bit of a noise around them at the time, which we hope they are. they might pick up one or two who want their football fix if no one else is playing around them. You never know.
Did you not watch the Nations League games with England? I mean, I like the enthusiasm and commitment will be in the last 16. But I mean, quite frankly, if they play like they did in the Nations League, we won't even worry about the last 16. But I mean, I think you're right, Stu. There'll be a lot of people enjoy live football. You know, sitting watching on telly, no good. You need to watch it live. So if there'll be a lot of people, a lot of West Ham fans will think, where's our football? Where are we going to go? You know, you're absolutely right. Good shout. And also, could I just point out one last thing on the fixture list before we get onto other subjects, Stu? Sunday, March 19th is the Papa John's Trophy final. And I think we should all make a note of that in our books, please. So I think this could be the year of the pizza, the year of the Ipswich Town Papa John's Trophy extravaganza.
Well, Andy Warren that'll be music to his ears when he's back from his well-earned break this week. We know he is all in. He is Mr. Papa John's for us, isn't he? Talking about the World Cup, there is actually a chance that I think a Papa John's, if Ipswich get through to the latter rounds of the Papa John's, that could clash with a World Cup semi-final. Now,
well, there's only one. There's only one
to Andy Warren. Well, I know he's put his name down for Qatar, but if you tell him, look, Papa John's semi-final, I think he might be giving that up. Stu, you go to the World Cup. I've got to be there for the pizza trophy. We'll have those discussions when he gets back. Yeah, it's a nice day, isn't it? Because we live our lives by these fixtures. I think there's 8,000 plus miles to travel. Always loads of teams in the northwest, loads of teams in the southwest this season as well for Ipswich. But there's just a real feel-good factor around the place at the moment. I mentioned the little breakfast they did this morning with a few dozen or so fans in attendance, which it's just night and day compared to the old regime at Ipswich Town under Marcus Evan. The level of communication and openness from the very top down is so refreshing to see. Mark Steed was there today, the chief investment officer of the pension fund in Arizona, the money that underpins all of this. He with the fantastic twirly moustache and facial hair that people will have seen sort of interacting on social media over the last year or so. And he stood up and was really quite inspiring in the way that he talked about the cultures that need to underpin this football club in terms of where the money's coming from. These firefighters and policemen who are losing their lives daily in the line of duty, and ultimately, you know, family members going over to Mark and saying thank you that the pension pot is there. You know, it's being passed on to family members of people who've lost their lives, and that is a message, as we know, through running through adversity on the shirts, that is really going to be hammered home to the players. And I think I'm sure they've all heard a lot of motivational speeches from managers that come and go, and after a while you maybe glaze over a little bit at some of those, but this message feels that little bit more powerful this time. It's something that on a real basic human level that people can relate to, and hopefully when we get to those hard winter months and we got those tricky trips to Accrington and the like, it's going to give Ipswich that little bit of extra grit and resilience to come through.
Yeah, you're right. And also, I mean, that's really interesting that, you know, talking about the pension funds and stuff, and that is the reality of where Ipswich Town are. That's where a lot of this money is coming from. And it is very, I mean, the players particularly, you know, that they make the biggest difference. They run on that pitch. Kieran McKenna can only do so much beforehand. Once they're on that pitch, the effort, the closing down, the determination to give absolutely everything. You're not going to win every single game. But just as you say, that running through adversity theme is absolutely spot on, and you can't hammer that home enough. Really, I'm glad to hear that was mentioned again today, Stu. Which carrying on from the breakfast, you haven't actually told us what you had. What you had? Did you have something? Yeah. What did you have? Full English?
Well,
or did you...
No, there were bacon rolls on offer, but you'll be it's all work, my friend. I had no time for that. I was squirreled away in the corner, tapping away those fixtures, making sure that they were live on our websites at the 9 a.m. embargo. So.
Correct answer.
My body is my temple. No bacon was consumed. Couple of news lines that I may as well bring you. We'll get this on our websites over the coming days. But Mark Ashton was talking about the new kit. And he said, I think last year was record shirt sales for Ipswich Town with the Ed Sheeran sponsorship would have played a big part in that. And they've already more than doubled their shirt sales this time around. So they are selling, as we predicted, like hotcakes. And season tickets are now already close to 16,000 season tickets sold for Portman Road. So, yeah, just envisioning that opening day against Bolton, that gets the hairs on the back of the neck standing up a little bit, doesn't it? It's going to be for years. Just had this horrible feeling of apathy, and you looked at some of those Tuesday night attendances that were low and were lower than the official number because season ticket holders weren't even showing up. That was clear. Those numbers just speak louder than anything else, don't they? That people are liking what they see and hear, and people are enthused about their football club again.
We're massive, aren't we, boys? Ipswich Town is just a massive football club, and we've always had a good supporters base, but those numbers is just impressive. And every time I speak to someone about Ipswich Town, they're just excited for the season. You know, I know it's League One for the 4th season stuff, but the kit looks lovely. Season ticket older, season tickets are getting sold like hotcakes as well. It's just exciting. You know, the last few years, as you said, it's been up and down, but this just feels different. You know, upcoming really good manager in Kieran McKenna, making some good signings. Got that core ready. Pre-season's going to go hopefully well. And then first game of the season against Bolton, that is going to be amazing attendance. You never know. That could be a full house. Hopefully so.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You are right. You're right, Stu. I mean, there's some good figures there, but you also chucked in the fact that you can remember not too long ago where season ticket goals weren't turning up. You know, even though they bought a season ticket. Don't think it's going to happen this year, but what I'm saying is there is a real good there's a good momentum building at Portman Road right now. This has been building up for since the new owners, basically. Let's be honest. So we're into our 2nd year of it, and let's just hope. Look, last year we never really threatened, did we? I mean, that was probably last season was because we never threatened anything really. We spent most of our time saying, you know, we're only 5 points off the playoffs, 10 points off the playoffs, 6 points off the playoffs, 4 points, 8 points, 12, and we never got any. We never mentioned the fact we're in the playoffs or we're heading towards the top 2. It's going to be on the pitch, boys. You know, the players have it all in their own hands. There's so much going off. As Stu, as you said today, an excellent breakfast briefing for the media and other people. That's what it's all about. The players now, it's up to them. They've got all the backing in the world behind them.
Yeah, and one of the themes that came up this morning with Simon Milton was comparing. He said, how do we manage expectation now? Bookies have Ipswich Town as favourites. How do we manage expectation? And Kieran McKenna was very quick to say, well, first of all, I want to embrace this optimism and positivity. I don't want to stand here and try and dampen that at all. We have to try and ride that wave. But Mark Ashton said that there will be moments that are tough, as there always is in a football season. And it's important that kind of people stick with us and trust the process and believe in the style of play that Kieran McKenna is not going to waver from, this possession brand of football, this playing in the opposition's half. And they believe that is going to basically have a higher ceiling for success, not only to take Ipswich into the Championship, hopefully sooner rather than later, but gives them a fighting chance of progressing from there as well. And the ambitions at this football club are much more than just getting back to the Championship and going from there. They want to keep progressing. So I'm sure there will be a little bump in the road moment for Ipswich Town, whether that is in the opening month, whether that comes in that September period, all those fixtures that we discussed. The problem in the past has been when that first bump has come, one wheel's fallen off and another wheel's fallen off, and then all of a sudden Ipswich have been chasing their tails for the rest of the season. That can't happen this time. When that first bump comes, these players have got to show a bit more resilience to bounce back a little bit quicker. So we'll see if that's the case this time. We have to keep reminding ourselves they've finished outside of the playoffs 3 years in a row. I think it's important to kind of keep that in our minds that this team did just finish 11th recently. But if you can't dream at this stage of the season, why not? That's what it's all about, the summer. So, Ross, you mentioned the signings there. Let's have a discussion about those. Ipswich have managed to get 4 players in the door come the opening week of pre-season. It's pretty good going, isn't it?
Very good going. As I said, you know, Sam Morsey, Chris Walton, that was deadline day, those 2 players, and they're a key core of the team. So now we've got 4 in the building. all ready to go in pre-season, doing all their tests. It's exciting. I'll let you take away, Stu, who we've signed. I know everyone knows already, but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, just to recap, on Monday, we had the news that Greg Leigh, formerly of Morecambe, left-sided player, had signed a 2-year deal for Ipswich Town, a free agent. And then last night, Wednesday night, just remembering my days, Tyreece John-Jules, versatile frontman on a season-long loan from Arsenal. He's had various loan spells over the last few years, mostly in League One. People might remember him from Lincoln, Doncaster. Probably won't remember him from Sheffield Wednesday last season because he only played one game before getting injured. That one game was against Ipswich. And he's been in the Championship with Blackpool as well. So let me just get your raw response. When you saw both those players revealed, what was your instant reaction to those two? Be honest.
I will admit, I did say who. After, you had to do standard Google, find a Wikipedia page where they've been. Maybe I should know about Greg Leigh because he's played for Morecambe, played against us twice last season. But I know a lot of Town fans are a bit underwhelmed. But every time I read about Greg Leigh, and I've watched the standard show reel of Tyreece John-Jules, and he looks like a complete striker. But alone, and then Greg Leigh, left-sided player that we need. It looks, got a good build. Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, I don't know who these players are particularly when they're being signed. However, we're in League One, for goodness sake. We're not in the Premiership, so we're not going to be signing Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. So let's just forget about names. Okay, they're signing players who they think have the potential to get this team out of League One and into the Championship, and then we'll take it a step from there as well. There's obviously Dominic Bohr has already been and Freddie Ladabo. Ladabo, is that right? Yes. Ladabo. No, not said that right.
We'll go with a P instead of a B towards the end.
Ladabo. Okay. Anyway, but big, strong players I've noticed. Big, strong players, athletic players. We need a bit of physicality as well as talent. And it looks like we're getting some physicality in the squad. That's how I'm viewing these good, athletic, strong players. Obviously, good players at this level. Look. Kieran McKenna has got to be trusted on this, and we can't keep dancing around. Why aren't we signing so and so from Bournemouth, or why aren't we signing so and so from whoever? We're going to sign who we're going to sign, and they're going to be from. And a season on loan from Arsenal is not bad for a young player, by the way. He's probably quite a talent. This young striker. So. Let's look forward to him. I'm glad we're not signing 10, 12 players again. I hope we only sign 1 or 2 more, to be perfectly honest, because we've got a talented squad. We've got Carl Edwards coming back. We've got Lee Evans coming back. Don't know what's happened with Salini yet, but that'd be nice. And, if, there's plenty of talent in this squad with these additions. You want to go into pre-season ready, pretty well ready, not as last season. We all saw what a mess up it was last season, not because we didn't have the talent, but because we're all over the place, with so many players come in.
This is the difference for me. It felt like last summer, having chucked everybody away, Paul Cook backed himself into a corner where they had to make signings pretty erratically. It was a bit like it felt, and I don't know if this is hindsight talking, they were just grabbing at whatever was available at any given point. And not sort of signing them with a plan in mind. It was just, he's available, sign him. It was maybe a little bit kid in a sweet shop with a bit of extra pocket money because the American money had come in, and then all of a sudden, opening day of the season, Scott Fraser, the division's best number 10 from the previous season, is playing on the left because you'd signed him. And then suddenly Chaplin's available and Salina's available, and we grabbed a Luco as well, and you had loads of sort of similar players. And what feels very different now with Kieran McKenna is that from very early on, he's had a very clear brief of the type of attributes that he wants. And we talked about where Ipswich have fallen short in League One. It has been perhaps those physical moments against I'd say, Accrington and Rotherham, where I talked about them being outfought and bullied and maybe looking a little bit one-paced at times in the games where they've had all the possession against the lesser sides that have come to park the bus. Beyond Wes Burns, if he wasn't firing, a bit more pace to kind of break things down. So McKenna has gone for, I think he said very early on, young, hungry, technical, athletic players. And everyone he's brought in so far, I think, has got elements of that. So does it really matter where they come from? For those that are underwhelmed, Wes Burns came from a Fleetwood side that had finished in the bottom half of the table last year at a very similar age to Greg Leigh. I think Wes Burns was 26. He was playing right back for Fleetwood. And then look at him. Suddenly, all of a sudden, he's a flying right wing back, top goal scorer, capped by Wales. So I think we have to kind of trust McKenna and co to kind of know what they want, don't we?
Yeah, the thing is also, Stu, you're right, but it's up to the players to grab this opportunity, isn't it? You know, they've been given an opportunity to join a very big club in League One, and you're absolutely spot on. When Wes Burns has grabbed it, he's absolutely said, I'm going to play for this club and I'm going to give it everything. You know, I'm going to make myself into anything the best I can. And if all the Town's players in that squad have the same attitude and do the same thing, Town are going to finish top 6. They could well finish top 2 because the talent in that squad is not in doubt. It's not in doubt. It's all going to be about a lot to do with attitude. Wes Burns is spot on. That's exactly what he's done. He's come, as you say, Stu, from Fleetwood, just playing, you know, and he's come to Ipswich, grabbed it. He's then playing for Wales in World Cup qualifiers, so or wherever he's playing. So yeah, I'm okay with it all.
There's some comparisons with Greg Leigh and Wes Burns. I'm not for 1 minute saying that he's going to suddenly have the rise that Wes Burns had last season, because that was incredible and that doesn't happen very often. But Greg Leigh's been a kind of a bona fide left back throughout his career. He's started off with big ambitions, maybe seen things not drift, but maybe not go on the upward curve that he thought it would. Injuries up at Aberdeen. He had to sign for Morecambe last year. People are saying, oh, it's underwhelming that we've signed someone released by Morecambe. I think there's probably a little bit more to that. The only reason Morecambe got him last year is because of the injuries. He signed a 1-year deal probably to think, hopefully if I do quite well, then I can get back to the level that I want to. And yes, he was released, but I would imagine that the conversations was him quite early on saying, I'm looking for another challenge, and okay, right, we won't bother then on the contract talk. So I'm not reading too much into that, but he's a left back, but has got these kind of forward attributes. He's very powerful, very direct. I think he's very good in the air. From if you listen to him and Morecambe fans, which I think is again something Ipswich have looked a little bit undersized at times. So he ticks a lot of boxes there. Whether he's going to be the starting left wing back, I don't know. It's him and Matt Penny battling it out at the moment. From what I understand, there might be another addition on that left wing back, and maybe Greg Leigh will be this kind of versatile option to cover some different positions. I don't know, but personality-wise, he looks like he looks like he's got it, doesn't he? That's what I like. That's what I like about all these signings. Clearly, they need to be the right people off the pitch, and you need to be built a certain way to represent Ipswich Town and the weight of that badge in League One. And he looks like he's got it between the ears.
He does. Like Stu, you followed that. You sent me over that interview he did with a guy talking about his career as a whole, and just it was more in depth about nutrition and everything. Really, it wasn't just about his career; it was just everything. And I just enjoyed just him as a character, as him just talking. And I hate to say this already, and I don't want to jinx it, but he could become my next boy, Stu. As you know, I've got that trend. I have boys, and every time I read about him, every time I watch an interview with him, I just like him. And I've watched a few of his highlights. As you say, looks physical, can go forward. That's what you want for a left wing back. But he's growing on me. Every time I read about him, I'm liking this signing. Free transfer, can't go wrong. And as you said, yeah, been released by Morecambe, but don't read into that too much because he's just come back from his spell in Aberdeen, went to Holland as well, started at Man City. So he's, once again, Patrick Vieira, he was coached by him. Usain Bolt got a little shout out as well, didn't he, Stu? Because was it his uncle or something like that? Was his doctor or something?
That's right, yeah. Warren Blake, his name is. Greg Leigh's uncle is the orthopedic surgeon, very well known in Jamaica to Usain Bolt. Bolt had various sort of injuries and back issues and things to deal with throughout his career. So, yeah, a little link to Usain Bolt, a Jamaican international, of course. Played in quite a few of their World Cup qualifiers. So another Ipswich Town international. So that's Greg Leigh. And then we've got Tyreece John-Jules. And you mentioned Greg Leigh came through at Manchester City. Tyreece John-Jules has also been schooled by a Premier League club in Arsenal. He's a bit earlier in his career at 21, had those loan spells I mentioned. But that's a theme here with Kieran McKenna. I think he's signing players that have, both of them are former England youth internationals. Both of them have been trained to play a certain way. We know Premier League clubs are a lot more technical. So hopefully they'll both be sort of players that can handle the football and play that sort of possession brand of football that Kieran McKenna wants.
I mean, another great opportunity, isn't it? It's a great opportunity for Tyreece. I mean, you know, being on loan at Arsenal, I mean, you've got players at Arsenal younger than him in the first team. And he's obviously way away from that. So this is his chance. This is his chance. You come to Ipswich Town and have a cracking season and put yourself out there. Good signing. I mean, Kieran McKenna, Tyreece is going to love playing under Kieran McKenna. Kieran McKenna's going to be good for him. And who knows? I've seen a couple of clips where he seemed to have dribbled around half the team and nearly scored a goal. So, I mean, or did score, whatever he did. So he's obviously a talent. Of course, he's a talent. You don't get to 21-year-olds and still at Arsenal if you're not a talent. Again, the physicality side, we'll have to see. He seems quite, I don't know how tall he is. I'm not going to pretend tall, big, short, whatever he is.
6 foot.
Right, 6 foot. Well, he's taller than me then, which is not hard. But anyway, but no, that's a great opportunity for him. He should look to grow out with both hands. He's obviously going to be quite quick and quick, and if he's strong as well, if he gets good strength, who knows? I mean, you just don't know. People come on season-long loans, and it's the best thing they ever did. Just ask Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, well, the Football League is littered with them. If you just look at the England team, how many of them have kind of learnt their stripes down in the lower leagues. And you're right, at 21, Tyreece John-Jules is probably getting on a bit in terms of sort of his Arsenal chances. Yeah. Joking aside, you look at the teenagers getting into teams and stuff now, he's probably starting to think, maybe that ship is starting to sail for me now. And the idea of this is to go and find myself a new home and prove that I can be a good championship player and see where I take my career from there. So we often talk about young, hungry players. I don't think you have to be young to be hungry. I think you can have some young, complacent players. You can have older, hungry players. And Greg Leigh is 27, but is clearly reading about his career and his personality, someone who feels he's got a real point to prove. So there's hunger, I think, in all of these signings. Another theme running through them, as well as hunger, as well as athleticism, is versatility. We talked about Don Ball can play midfield. He could play centre-half if need be. Greg Leigh's played in various different positions. I think he did a bit of right-back for Morecambe at stages last year. Let's talk about him. He's played in a back three, I think, at times. And Tyreece John-Jules sounds like someone who can play anywhere across that front line. Central striker, wide left, wide right, maybe a little bit deeper as well. So maybe Ipswich will carry a slightly smaller squad, but with a few players that can play different positions. Is that something you like?
I like versatile players too. I like my players who can play different positions. I don't want just someone going, that's my position, that's where I'm playing. With Tyreece John-Jules, you're definitely for the attacking positions. If there is sadly injuries or we just want to switch up a little bit, maybe confuse the opposition, maybe have Tyreece on the right at first, then move him on the left or put him up front. I think that's good to see. And I'm going to bring you a fun fact, boys. Bring you a fun fact here about Tyreece John-Jules. Do you know the series Red Dwarf?
Yes.
Yes.
Tyreece's uncle is Danny John-Jules, who played Cat in the comedy series. Oh. So fun fact, boys.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. For a good one, Ross. Good one. Like that a lot. As you said.
That's a great fact.
Going back to a bit of versatility, I mean, one-trick ponies are not really the thing now in professional football. You have got to be able to play a few positions, and it's good to hear. And it's good to hear these guys can play all different positions. That's what it's going to be about. It's a squad game. It's a squad game now. We're going to have about 150 subs next year, aren't we? How many subs you allowed on? 14 or something? I mean, by the time, you remember when I started watching football, you had one sub. You had one substitute, the number 12. Now, by the time we get to another 20 years, we'll literally have 15, maybe 40 substitutes. Who knows? But certainly, it's a squad game. You need to be able to play anywhere. And McKenna's something.
This 5 subs thing's silly, isn't it? Why do we need to bring why do 5 subs need to come on? It's just going to add to time wasting. That's the fear, isn't it? And
Stu, that is the thing. That's what gets me more than anything. People talk, I mean, apart from the fact I don't think players like it, not for 1 second, because more likely they're going to get substituted now than they ever were. Players don't. Do you think players like being substituted? That's rubbish to ever suggest they do. They want to play all the time. They hate being substituted. But there's going to be more and more of that. And as you say, Stu, just stopping the game. Stopping the game. 15 minutes to go. You're 1-0 up. Oh, let's make another sub. And then in 5 minutes' time, make another. I mean, you can only make 3 in one go or something. I don't know. But you'll just make sure you'll just stop the game for more substitutions.
Hmm. Well, there will be those games because we've seen enough of them in recent years where teams have parked the bus, tried to frustrate, 2 banks of 4, can't break them down. What I like about this forward unit that Kieran McKenna's creating is there's some pace and there's some dynamism in there. People that can beat a man, break the lines, do something. I just wonder, we saw a lot of the sort of double number 10s with Aluko, Selena, Chaplin all kind of buzzing about in pockets of space and sometimes tripping over each other's feet, and all the game was in front of them and it got a bit frustrating. I wonder if we might move towards more of a front 3. Almost this is kind of a Manchester United light version of a kind of a Rashford, Sancho, whoever else they have as a very pacey, dynamic front 3. I wonder if he's looking for kind of a League One version of that. You might have Caden Jackson and John-Jules running the channels with Freddie Ladapo through the middle, something like that. And that there might be some more recruits to come at the top end of the pitch. In fact, I'm sure there is. But the type of attack that Kieran McKenna's building there it looks to be one that got a bit more variety to it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, last season, it just didn't quite work, did it? All this number 10 position just didn't quite work for Ipswich last season. We had different number 10s, although people playing just behind the straight. It just didn't feel like it worked. It did at times, but overall it didn't. You're right, Stu. That could be a really good option. But just have your midfielders who sit a little bit more, breaking when one of them breaks quite nicely or whatever, and have 3 people bombing at the up front, and have midfielders sitting a little bit more, like I say, with perhaps one midfielder bombing on, but you don't need that's probably good. That's a very good shout, that, Stu.
You're right. It did at times is exactly it. And there are times it worked lovely and Ipswich passed teams to death, and when it clicked, it worked brilliantly. And I'm not saying they'll go away from that. They've still got Chaplin and Aluko on the books. Cameron Humphreys might play in that sort of more advanced midfield role at times, and I'm sure that is a system they will start with and play a lot. But now they've got some different weapons in the armory. As on those days where things are getting frustrated, they can go to a bit more pace, and they can go for the hell of a counter threat against some of the bigger teams away from home. And Kieran McKenna has very quickly realised where the deficiencies were in this team. I think pace and finding a way to win in those sort of games is one. I think set pieces was clearly a glaring area that they needed to improve on. I don't know if a set piece taker is still to come. I think Greg Leigh took set pieces for Morecambe last year, although he's good in the air, so you might want him in the box. We'll see. Maybe they'll work on others, improving their delivery. I don't know, but I think Ipswich have got a bit more size about them now for both boxes. So all the little things, and the left-sided balance as well. We hope that Greg Leigh or another can kind of solve that left-sided balance. But there were some pretty obvious areas for Ipswich to improve on, even for us sort of laymen watching on. And I think McKenna's addressing those with some of these early signings. Mike, you mentioned earlier you hope that there's not too many more. One or two, I think you said more. How many more signings do you think there is to come for Ipswich Town now, looking at the squad?
Well, I don't know how many. Obviously, I don't know how many. I would just hasten to say I would only I'd like 2 more. I'd like 2 more in the door. I'd like a striker, another striker, and another defender, maybe another centre half, or certainly, well, just a defender. We're talking versatility here, aren't we? So we're not talking about specific positions. I like another striker and I like another defender. But I think we've got plenty of midfielders, and that's it. You've got to get on with the squad you've got. You've got to start getting some shape, and players have got to know each other. As if we haven't had the best example of throwing 15 players together on all in one go. We had it last season. We don't want it again this. And to be fair, I don't think McKenna does, to be honest. I think he's looking at his squad and thinking, my goodness, enough talent in this squad. They need coaching. That's what they need. They need coaching. They need systems, and they need being told what is required. That is as simple as that. There's enough talent. They haven't got to look around and think, oh, we ain't got any good players here. They've got loads of good players, and they're signing some decent players. So a couple more, Stu, I'd be happy with that.
Ross?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think maybe one or two more. At the end of the day, Stu, I think we're going to have an absolute fit squad. They're going to have a fantastic preseason. They're going to go up to Loughborough next week, and they're going to be fit as a fiddle. And yeah, Sam Morsey and co. Sam Morsey, I saw him do a tweet and say good signing or big signing when we signed Tyreece John-Jules. So he's excited about that. But I feel we've just got even just the backroom staff, just everything around the club at the moment. It just looks like everything is getting done professionally. We're bringing in some great characters, as I said before. It's just exciting on and off the pitch. So we've got a fit team, one or two more additions just to maybe. I think we need that one more marquee, don't we? That one marquee sign to excite the fans extra more, and the one that will sell the shirts more, of course, because shirts are selling themselves. But that one marquee sign, possibly.
I feel like I can understand why people are saying that about a marquee signing and someone that really sets the pulses racing. But I feel like Freddie Ladapo's been given a bit of a rough ride here. Almost people are sort of underplaying his record. This is a man who's scored goals in League One 3 seasons in a row. He's had a little bit of championship in between there with Rotherham, but there was so much excitement surrounding James Norwood that felt like a marquee signing for Ipswich Town in League One. But all his goals had come in League Two and the Conference, and yet there isn't that same sort of hype about Freddie Ladapo for some reason, who scored lots of goals in a team that got automatically promoted last season in Rotherham. So we may be sleeping a little bit on Freddie Ladapo. He might be the talisman yet. We'll see.
Can I jump in quickly? Oh, sorry, Mike.
I still think, Stu, that a lot of the thing with Ladapo, I agree with you. I think it's a good sign. I think when you go, my old friend Joe Piggott, you go back to Joe Piggott, I think last season that was such an exciting sign. This guy scored all these goals in the and and he's done all this, and he's a rubbish team. He scored 20-odd game goals, and we're all like, so didn't quite. So I think with Ladapo, I think someone needs to do it. Someone needs actually to do it. Macaulay Bond did for the first half of the season. That was a massive surprise and fantastic excitement, but then he just completely faded. We need somebody to do it from the get-go, and just throughout the season they become your top man. Every single time McKenna picks a team, that guy is your first choice striker. Last season it started off. We started off with Piggott. We end up with Bond. We end up with Bond for quite some time.
Well, there was no hype around Macaulay Bond. Certainly when he first signed, before people kind of were aware of how big an Ipswich Town fan he was. But we sat here and, like everyone else, Joe Piggott, who's going to be top goal scorer? Joe Piggott. It was all about Piggott, not Bond. And I wonder if we might have a similar thing with Ladapo. It might be a good thing. It might give him a bit of, hang on a minute, everyone's talking about we still need another striker, we still need a marquee signing. That might just fire him up a bit. And he's in the building, and he's got an opportunity in these pre-season games to go and bang a few goals in and change people's minds on that a little bit. Going back to what they need, possibly a goalkeeper if Hladky leaves. They've obviously been linked to... help me out, Ross. Sam Williams? Sam Walker. Sorry, I've gone blank there. Sam Walker, big Ipswich Town fan. I remember my former colleague Dave Gooderham interviewing him after Northampton had come to Ipswich and won in the Carabao Cup. When was that? Back in 2011, more than 10 years ago. Wow. And finding out that he was a massive Ipswich Town fan who'd been a season ticket holder with his dad growing up, and even though he just played for Northampton that night, was still referring to Ipswich Town as we in his interviews afterwards. So I would imagine Hladky will be wanting to go and play first team football, and if he does, Ipswich sign another senior goalkeeper, whether it's Walker or someone else, we'll see. I know you mentioned a centre back, Mike. I'm not convinced they need another centre back now. You've got that, what you would imagine would be the first choice 3 of Donassian, Wolfenden and Edmondson when he's fit again. And you've got Burgess and Darber coming back from his loan spell with Salford, and Greg Lee and Lee/Ball, who can both play back 3 if you want. That's more than enough options for a back 3 there. And I've not even included Elkan Baggett in there, who I think will probably go out on loan. So I think you can end up with too many if you're not careful there. So I'm quite comfortable with centre back. Left side, we'll see, is Lee and Penny enough? I think there'll be a few positions that will be dependent on departures now. If they sign another left-sider, maybe Matt Penny will go on his way. If they sign another striker, I would imagine Joe Pigott will probably move on this summer. Have they got enough backup to Wes Burns, who could be away with Wales from time to time, possibly even going to a World Cup? You've got Kane Vincent-Young. I think they were working on Carl Edwards to play on that right side before he got injured, so probably. Then that leads you on to central midfield. You've got, what have we got now? Morsey, Evans, Ball, I would say, are the three main competitors for that deep position. Then you've got people like Humphreys, El Mazzuni on the fringes. If they got another one in there, possibly. Harper of course, coming back as well.
Just as well 5 subs can come on at this rate. We've got about 14 on the bench.
Exactly, it's well stocked. And then it's just that number 10 position, which we talked about. Maybe it's not all going to be built around those number 10s now. We've still got Chaplin, Aluko, Humphreys, who I've mentioned. You know, I know there's a big clamour for people to see Bersant Selina come back, but maybe they're moving a little bit away from that style of play. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, you're probably right. I think maybe more like 2 or 3 or 4 at a push, depending on departures.
I want to just quickly jump in before we move on to our next section still. Talking about the marquee signings, I think maybe some fans are thinking, oh, they're all free transfers. So, of course, now we've got new owners, we've got all this money. Why don't we spend the millions and millions? But sometimes, Don Ball, free transfer from the Championship. Freddie Ladapo, as you said, free transfer as well. All these have been, good free transfer signings. You don't always need to spend millions on players because sometimes you can sign some good free agents. So, Town fans, don't be too disappointed that we haven't spent millions yet, because we're going to do that in the Championship, aren't we? We're going to spend millions in the Championship to then get promoted to the Premier League. There we go.
Yeah,
well, I think the thing is with free transfers. Look, football's about coaching. Football isn't just about buying people and then saying because otherwise that's as easy, isn't it? Just go and spend 12 million on league players in league and just put them on the pitch and we'll get promoted. It's about coaching, And yes, of course people spend money, but coaches, Kieran McKenna is a top coach. I think that's what's going to come out of all this, and his style of coaching is what's going to get the best out of these players. You don't have to spend a lot of money, just coach them properly, and give them ideas, and don't make them scared to do things like all this playing from the back. Let them play with freedom. Yeah, they're going to make mistakes. We're going to have cock-ups, all sorts of things that go wrong at times. But overall, give them that confidence. And I think that's what McKenna is doing.
I get a little bit frustrated with this. I guess Sky Sports has kind of created this culture around transfers and the excitement of transfer season. You look at the turnover of players year after year at football clubs. It's outrageous because people want new, shiny things all the time. And if this isn't working, chuck it in the bin, start again. And there has to come a point in any business where you work on the people that you've got and unlock things in them that you're not seeing. And that's what I really like about Kieran McKenna, as you say. He's going to improve players. And it's not just about coaching, it's about alchemy as well. It's about making a team that is, better than the sum of its parts. And I think that's what McKenna's going to do here, hopefully. I think he's signing players specifically for reasons, and he's going to put them all together. Not only is he going to make them better individually, but I think he's going to put them together as a team. That's the feeling that we're getting at the moment. That's what we've got to hope.
I could go. We've got a history of this Ipswich Town. I know we go back to Bobby Robson, who signed about 13 players in 13 years or something. And every player he signed for a reason. Everything was earmarked. There's a special thing. When Paul Mariner came, it was a special. The 2 Dutchmen. These people were signed for a purpose of how he wanted to play the game, and he identified. And that's what I'd like McKenna and like this club to get back to a bit more, identifying what we need and getting the best out of players, not just signing players. I felt that last year. Fraser was a classic example, Scott Fraser. He came all pomp and show. He'd gone by, was it Christmas or wherever it was? I don't know. Absolutely absurd. How a player who was clearly a good player, and we've just signed him because he's available and probably offered him a very good deal compared to what you could get anywhere else. That's not. You need to coach people. You've got to have an idea. I think the good thing is we have a manager who's got that thought process.
This is going to be a long one, chaps. We're an hour in, but we haven't done one for a little while. And I'm going to decree that we're going to kick on we're going to carry on for a little bit longer. There's a few more things that we need to cover. Ross, I think you put out a little message today asking for some mailbag questions, thoughts from the KOA army. What have we got?
Well, still, we're forgetting something, my friend. I know we're going a decent hour now, but we've still got to do it, haven't we? You've still got to do it. So take it away, Stu.
Oh, of course. Mailbag. It's time for Mark, Ross, and Stu to dip into the mailbag.
What about me?
You said Mark.
Oh, I said Mark, didn't I? I always do that. Mark, Mike.
I won't answer. No, I won't answer any. That's all right. Don't worry. I'll sit here. Unless you get to do it again, I won't answer.
Sorry, mate. I did mean to say Mike.
Okay, mate. I'll know.
Oh dear. It's all right, lads. It's all right. It's all right. We'll kick on. Now we've got a few fixtures questions, so we're going to go back to fixtures. But then they're nice questions. We're going to start off with James Farthing, who's a part of the KOA fan social posse. He actually was on the Kings of Anglia fan social on Monday. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to that. But he said, "What do you think is our most difficult run of games during this season?" Do you reckon? Of course, look back at your fixtures quickly, boys. What stands out for me is the festive fixtures, because we've got some tough games then. Peterborough at home, Wickham away, Oxford at home, Portsmouth away. So it's going to be a tricky festive period. What do you reckon, Mike?
September and October, you've got Sheffield Wednesday away, followed by Plymouth away, followed by Portsmouth at home. There's 9 points or no points for you. Or 3 points. Or 5, maybe. 5, perhaps. Or maybe even 6. Or 7.
And then a long trip to Morecambe off the back of all those games that you mentioned. Derby to come later in October. So yeah. I always feel like that kind of October, November period is sorts the men from the boys, really, doesn't it? It's sacking season for a reason. That's when you start to see managers losing their jobs. That's when the pressure ratchets up a knot. You know, every year we sit here in the summer and we're all optimistic when we're excited about the new signings, and then it all starts, and then it just takes a result or two in October and November, and everyone gets a little bit wobbly. And that's I think you're right. I think that little period there is could be quite an interesting one.
It will be. Okay, next question is from Maddie. Good old Maddie. She says she just wants to know, what away days are we most and least looking forward to? As I said, Port Vale on a Tuesday night, Bristol Rovers on a Tuesday night. But then I haven't been to either of those games, so I'm looking forward just them as a day. But Stu, Mike, what do you reckon?
Well, I won't be going to all the away games, of course. I might not be going to any. I should be going to a few, hopefully, this season. But I mean, I'm on holiday in August, so I miss Shrewsbury Town away, which is I'm not too disappointed about if I was called up. So I mean, well, there's some long treks, isn't there? Some long treks south, isn't there? Yeah, Exeter and Plymouth and Bristol Rovers on a Tuesday night.
Forest Green, I think any new ground will be quite interesting, and to do that earlier in the season would be good. Least looking forward to. I don't need to be going back to Barnsley, I'm afraid. It feels like you're going back in time a little bit. Sorry to any Barnsley fans that might hear this. It's the press box in particular is very, very dilapidated. They're these old sort of wooden school desks that sort of flip forward, and your laptop never feels very solid in it. It just takes one person to kind of move, and your laptop gets catapulted about 4 rows forward. I think there's still bits of my old one scattered on the concrete steps of Oakwell from many years ago. Thinking back to that, was it 5-3, the game that basically sort of kept Jewel going for another season, where Ipswich were 2-0 down at half time, and I think Sonko booted one against his own post, and Ipswich came back to win with Keith Andrews' early goal in the second half. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going to Hillsborough and going back to Derby and places like that are big games, aren't they? Portsmouth, I always enjoy going to. Great atmosphere down there. So some big old games in League One now. It's starting to feel more and more like a mini championship every year, isn't it?
It is. We're going to stick with away games. We've got a question from good old Bono, AK Matt, AK View from YouTube. Many names. This man, he's a top guy. He says, in terms of away fixtures, is the first big day food day for you guys. So which one is the first big like food day? So Mike, this is a good question for you for food wise. Where do you reckon will be the perfect place to get some good food? Or maybe in a way the media room or just services.
Well, if you go to Forest Green, is it Forest Green or vegan? You've got vegan.
Yeah.
You see, that's going to be the tricky one for me. If I was going to Forest Green, it would be I don't know what I'd have to stop on the service on the way and have a sausage roll. I mean, not a vegan sausage roll either. So I don't really know. It's that sounds a bit. That sounds tremendously difficult. I'm obviously talking about away. I mean, at home, I hope things will improve on the home front. More importantly, quite frankly.
I have an update.
Excellent,
Mike. Somebody who will remain unnamed within the football club has told me that your complaints about the food offering, I think you had a couple of rants, didn't you, about the lack of mash with the pie, the accompaniments to the Portman Road pie at Portman Road have been heard at a very high level within the football club. We're talking boardroom level here.
Gosh.
And they've been taken on board, and I'm told that things are going to improve this year. So I've got you to thank for that. I think I'm going to be eating a little bit better on a Saturday afternoon. Thanks to your outburst.
Well, I hope this is the case. I hope this is the case. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Everybody's very polite at Portman Road. Hospitality is always very good. I'm not going to go down this road. I've said this enough times about one pie on one plate. We've done it before. You don't have it anywhere else. And if there's a little accompaniment, that'll be an absolute treat. I'd thoroughly enjoy that.
What are you hoping for? A bit of mash, bit of veg? What?
A little bit of mash. I would say baked beans, but I think we'll spill them. I'll spill it. If I have a white top on, I know I'll make a mess. A little bit of mash would be lovely. I think I saw a little mash with a little salt and pepper. I mean, it's a little salt and pepper. We don't have any salt and pepper lying around, do we? Or do I miss it? No salt and pepper. See, we don't have any salt and pepper. So a little salt and pepper and mash.
They do you some. Nice. They do you some condiments, to be fair. They'll do you some Stokes ketchup / brown sauce, which I am now converted to. Good Suffolk brand that. Get yourself on the Stokes. If you want to sponsor us, Stokes, yes, please.
Yes, Stokes. We'll mention you all the time, Stokes. Want we to do?
We would. And that has just reminded me as we continue in this epic chat to mention our sponsors, Manscaped, for all your below the belt grooming needs. Is that what we say?
That's what we say, yeah.
Yeah, you know the drill by now. You know what Manscaped's all about. They'll do you some. Here we go. Look, Ross has put. We should probably have that up all the time, shouldn't we? Just covering my bald bonds. Manscaped, get 20% off at Manscaped plus free shipping with promo code KOA at manscaped.com. They're sticking with us, so you out there must be buying the products because so many of you need to use that code for them to continue with the sponsorship, and they keep doing it. They keep renewing month after month. So keep doing your thing. Thank you very much, listeners. Manscaped.com. Right, that's that box ticked. Ross, have you got a few more from the mailbox before we move on?
Got a few more. One more on fixtures, and then we'll get on to some other questions. Now, a question from Gray's Manic. I think I've said that right. I'm sorry if I haven't. Basically, do you think the players care as much as we do about the fixtures? Of course, I think they would do because they're going to be playing 46 games, getting ready for the season. Do you reckon how they look excited? They look at the fixtures on their phone and go, "Oh, here we go. Got to go to bloody Morecambe this day." What do you reckon?
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Well, if they don't, they ought to. I mean, of course they do. They look at the fixtures. Of course, everyone likes to look at the fixtures. Who doesn't like to look at the fixtures? I mean, I understand them not looking at the kits or the season tickets, but the fixtures, but they'll be looking up there thinking, "Oh, that's a tough." They'll all go. It'll be on there. It's ITFC players group in brackets, not the manager, close brackets, WhatsApp group chat. They'll be all over it.
That's the liveliest group chat, isn't it? The one with just the players. That's where some more questionable links are getting thrown around in that one. Yeah, of course they do. They've got to go to all these games. They've got to tell the missus, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm away Christmas night." The first thing that they're looking for is Boxing Day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
because if it's an away trip, it's probably going to be a hotel on Christmas night. I think they are staying over a lot more under the new era, so they're probably looking at all those long trips and things like that. And probably like us fans, they sit down footballers sit down and start to work out how many points in this month.
Yeah, of course they do.
It's an interesting theory that I was listening to. I think it was the Peter Crouch podcast the other day, and he was telling a story about Tony Pulis at Stoke, and he sat all the players down at the start of the season, and he went, right, August, we've got Man United away, Arsenal at home, so how many points? And all the players sort of overestimated a little bit. Yeah, 9 points, 10 points. We can do this, do that. Pulis would go 3. Next month, again, no, we can do this. No, 2 points that month. And then he totted it all up at the end, and they went, well, on average, that gets you 10th place. So sometimes you can get a bit carried away and sort of actually, you know, just because one game you lose doesn't sort of throw everything off. I think that was the lesson that he was giving. By contrast, today, Kieran McKenna at this breakfast was asked, you know, do you do that? Do you break up games into little blocks and do you set yourself points targets? And he sort of said, well, not really. The narrative last season was in the Championship / League One, 2 points a game gets you enough for the playoffs. And he said, in the end, we did pretty much 2 points a game, and it wasn't enough last year. The points tally went up. So I want to win every game. I want every game we target 3 points, and that's the way he's looking at it, which is the opposite end of the Pulis scale, but quite refreshing as fans to hear that. Every game we're going to go into looking to win and target 3 points. And that's the way it's got to be, isn't it?
Of course it has. I can't stand all this micromanaging stuff like the fixtures. Just get out there and win every game. That's 2 points per game will get us in the tops. Oh, be quiet. Just win every game. You'll be in the top 2. You'll win it by 10 points.
Okay then, boys. One more. This is more a statement from Mike King, Kingy Blue on Twitter. He said, "Why is everyone so excited about Fixture release date? I just don't get it. We're going to play everyone twice," which is a fair statement, but we all want to know where we're going to go, home or away, what date, Boxing Day, and all that sort of stuff. So there we go.
Fair enough. Yeah, kits. Some people get really excited about them. Other people go, "Oh, they're wearing blue again." Fixtures. We're playing everyone home and away twice. You're right. It's nice to get excited about all this stuff at this time of year, but the real excitement comes when that football's placed on the centre spot for the first day, and let's see what happens during those 90 minutes, because the excitement can't come from all off the pitch stuff, the cleaning up the stadium and sorting out the community trust and all of that good stuff. Got to start doing it on the pitch now. It's been 11th, 9th, 11th. There's only so many sticking plasters you can kind of put over that off the pitch, isn't it? It's got to start happening on it soon.
Okay, I've got a little picture here for you lads, and it's a picture of Don Ball. Let me bring it up quickly. Now, this is from Sheffield Blue, and he said, "What was Don Ball thinking when this photo was taken?" Now, wrong answers only, please, lads. What do you reckon? So for the listeners out there, he's just basically got his arms up like that. I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter. The club posted it, but it's now become a bit of a meme. You know what memes are. But what do you reckon then, boys? Wrong answers only, please.
He's saying only mashed potato with a pie. That's what he's saying. Only mashed potato with a pie. I love the fact we're doing this for our audio listeners. I mean, what on earth they're sitting there? If people got it in their ears at the moment, wandering down, walking through a park somewhere, they're thinking, "What the hell is this feature about?"
They know the picture. They know the picture. Everyone knows it by now. Okay. They should know by now. And also, it's the picture on the mailbag, appeal. So you'll see the picture on there. So there we go. What do you reckon, Stu?
Oh, I'm not very good at these. I've got no idea, Ross. Maybe he's looking at Corey and Darber lifting the maxing out the weights room. I think Corey's been videoed this week proclaiming himself to be the strongest player in the EFL. I mean, that title is open now with Akinfenwa having retired, isn't it? But that's still a bold shout. But maybe Dom's just watched Corey and Darber deadlift a ridiculous amount of weight and is responding to that.
That's a perfect segue, Stu. For the next question is on Corey Ndaba himself, and it's from good old Tom Baines. If Ndaba doesn't get into the first team this year, do you think its time at the club is done? Seems a lot of people thinking this, but he's only 22. Would like to hear your thoughts, gents. What do you reckon then, Corey Ndaba? This is make or break, because this is going to be his fourth pre-season, I think. What do you reckon then, boys?
Yeah, I think if you start to get 22 years old, you need to be in and around the first team very much so. We haven't seen enough of him, have we? I mean, how you know, he seems to go away. He seems to go away from us and do well. He had a really good season last season. So yeah, he's got to be given a chance. At 22 years of age, I mean, again, I go back to the Arsenal situation. Look at some of the Arsenal players who, Teta has put in his squad, and young players, they look at this, don't they? And someone like Darby's looking at players who are 18, 19, 20 playing in the Premier League, you know, and he's 22. You said he's 22? Yeah, I mean, he should be in and around the first team this season. And if he isn't, then he'll probably want to move on, I would think.
Yeah, it feels a bit sort of now or never for me with Corey and Dar, but maybe with a change of manager, there might be one more loan and the door's still ajar. But he's out of contract next summer. You would think if Corey and Darby isn't part of it this year, I think at that age he'd be starting to think I've got to go away and somewhere and play football. So I think he's got a real good chance of being around it. This I just think I've been really impressed with him whenever I've seen him in pre-season. So comfortable on the ball, left-footed. He's capable of bursting out from the back. I think he ended up playing sort of left back quite a bit for Salford last summer. So left side of a back three, I think could, you know, obviously Edmondson is kind of in pole position there at the moment, but you never know. I don't know how far off Edmondson is with his recovery. There'll be other injuries along the way. I think he's got a real chance this year. I think he's a McKenna type of player from what I've seen of him.
And I think if you send a player out on loan and say, go out on loan, get your experience, go and do the business. And he's gone and done that. So he deserves a crack for me. Yeah,
it's what Wolfenden did. It's what Downs did, I think. And I think he's got a really good platform to kick on. And we talked about having the right mentality to be able to play for a club under expectations in League One. He looks like he's got the confidence about him. I know we just joked about that video there, but he's got that he's got the Irish gift of the gab. He looks like someone that won't be fazed by going out there and playing for Ipswich. So I will watch his progress in these pre-season games with interest.
Indeed, and that is it, boys. I just want to give a shout out to everyone else who, of course, took part. Good old Ben Diaf, basically asking about will there be more signings coming, and we covered that. Harvey Davis, also Sweet Welsh Prince, sent a question in, and some other people as well. Lee, basically, just what's your favourite scented room diffuser? We can end it with that if you want.
Vanilla. Vanilla is mine.
I might have one up here somewhere. I'd probably just go for some sort of linen, fresh linen sort of smell. That's what I'm going for.
Cotton, vanilla.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mailbag done.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
Hey, don't forget Needham Market on Saturday. Hope we're all going to be there. We'll be there, won't we? Us three. Are we all going? I'll order your press passes, you boys. So I hope you are. Hope you're not going to let me down now and leave me on my own.
Three of us will be there. Bloomfield, I'm reliably informed they've been on a little recce mission. Ipswich Town officials, and they're happy with how the pitch is looking. They're looking forward to the game.
Oh, you don't want to worry about the pitch at Needham Market. It's a cracker, absolute cracker. I tell you what, it's a cracking. If you haven't been Needham, I think there's some tickets still left as well. Ipswich Town fans, if you did fan it, Needham Market is a terrific non-league ground. You wait, you get there on Saturday. A lot of Ipswich Town fans will be very impressed by what they see. The pitch will be perfect. Don't worry about it, but always is. But they actually look at the whole setup. They've got a 3G pitch behind the main pitch as well. Well, you know this, Ross, as well. It's a really, really top setup. So good place for Ipswich Town to be on Saturday.
It's been years since I've been there. I've scored a goal at Needham Market. I think I've bored you all on this podcast many times before. Back post header, last minute equaliser. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And then he threw his hairband into the crowd.
I'll talk you all through that in a bit more detail. I'll show you the exact blade of grass that happened at the weekend. I'll bore you to tears with that. I was going to have a bit more of a wider chat about pre-season, but this one has gone on far too long. We'll reconvene next week with Messrs Heath and Warren. When they're back, we can reflect on Needham Market, and maybe we'll talk about pre-season as a whole. What does it mean? Does it mean anything? What are we looking out for in the further games to come? But I think we should call that a wrap today. Any other business?
No business.
We're good.
No other business, Mike. Get the catchphrase correct.
No other business.
Thank you. Ross, say it.
No other business, boys.
No other business. Thanks for listening.